What is up, y'all? And welcome back to the Anger Nation podcast. Tonight's going to be a good night. We've got the lovely Angry Mel sitting on the podcast because we've got the fabulous, the mountain fabulous Stephanie Johnson here tonight.
My bestie.
There she is. And as an added bonus, we even brought you guys my favorite hillbilly, Franklin Horton, and we've got this Trump dancing hillbilly in the bottom corner down here. It's always awesome Sularoo, who looks like he's staying in his mom's second bedroom right now.
Right.
The robot, doing the robot with arthritis.
Yeah. And then we got the always fabulous T, Mr. Bob Toombs of Mountain Readiness. How y'all doing tonight? How's everybody doing?
Excellent.
Doing great.
Good.
Good. You finally ready to tell the story?
Yeah, boy, do I got a story for y'all. I don't know which one of you is going to write it first.
Yeah. Well, me and Franklin sat side by side one time, and actually, you were there, Steph. And an incident took place before the two of us. That when it was done, we looked at each other, and we both at the exact same time went to say, "I'm putting that in the book," and he said it just a fraction of a second faster than me. So I had to concede to him and give him that most amazing gift that he put in a fiction book, guys. But I'll tell you right now, there ain't nothing fiction about that dude. If you know who I'm talking about, yellow shooting glasses.
Oh yeah, he's the real deal.
He's great. Leave him alone. He's fabulous.
That
so
happened.
You need a buzzer then for tonight, because the stuff I've got to tell you, you're going to be like, that one, I get it.
That's it.
What's that?
So
TV
we'll give a big
show?
shout out to everybody who's joining in to watch tonight. Thanks, guys. Because this is, so for those of you who don't know who Stephanie is, she's a dear friend of ours that we've known for years. And me and Franklin met her on the same day, actually. And it was, and just that story, hilarious in itself.
What's the story?
Okay, well, we'll give a little background, but I want to give Steph plenty. And too, Steph, there's no real time limit on tonight. We'll run if we need to run for this to get done. But we're at Heritage Life Skills in Waynesville, North Carolina.
Yeah.
And Franklin and I had tables side by side, sitting side by side. I just met him, and right across from us was this crazy red-haired girl with this diorama, a 3D diorama of this whole thing. It was amazing looking. And me and him were sitting over there and watching her and listening to her talk. And she loves everybody. She never met a stranger.
Yeah.
And she comes walking over and she's looking at us and she looks at me and she's like, "Everybody's buying your books." She's like, "So I'm gonna buy his books." And I was like, "Do that." I said, "Buy them and read them." And that's how we met Stephanie Johnson.
And been friends ever since.
And she was a fan of Horton before she was a fan of mine. So.
Yeah.
Because I read Horton's
She reads Horton's books. I don't think she reads yours.
I don't think she reads mine anymore. Yeah.
Only because I want to be your friend and not your fan.
Right.
Everybody loves you so much.
You're always friend. Always friend.
Yeah.
So what Stephanie did, guys, is after Helene hit, she lives in Burnsville, North Carolina, which is where my family's from. Mm-hmm. After the hurricane hit, Stephanie loaded some stuff from her pantry and went down to Rose's parking lot in Burnsville and just set up a little table, and if you need it, come get it. And that blossomed and bloomed into a massive operation.
Huge.
We call it Operation Useless Clothing because that's what they got more of than anything. Guys, is a word of advice. After disaster, do not send old clothes to the disaster zone.
Never.
They do not need them. They do not want them. They cannot deal with them. Because once it's there and mounded up, and a lot of times it's exposed to the weather, it was literally, we were watching them fill a semi-truck trailer full of bags of used clothing that was going to go to the dump.
No, go to Goodwill.
Oh, Goodwill. Okay, Goodwill. Well, being disposed of.
Seven 18-wheeler loads of clothing.
7. So you filled 7 trucks.
Yeah.
Goodwill, it should have gone to a local charity.
But
7 18-wheelers in 3 weeks. We had
Goodwill are going to sell that stuff for $380,000.
Yeah, they'll make a fortune. Paul Christopher in the crowd tonight watching, brother. Package is going out for you tomorrow. So,
he said it was in the parking lot of Roses.
Yeah, parking lot of Roses. He knows where it's at. Paul knows Steph.
Yeah.
And she it started literally with her opening up her own pantry and taking some extra down because she knew people were going to need it. And then it turned into what it turned into, which I know you didn't expect, Steph, because it's now all consuming, isn't it?
Yeah, it got awful crazy. Quick, fast, and in a
Miles
hurry.
in the house.
Hey.
So take them. Let's just start like day one. And I know Sue was helping up there, and T helped up there, and I know Horton had a hand in things too, even if he won't admit it. So let's just kind of start at the beginning, and then we'll get to some of the ugly stuff, and then we'll and try to end this on a high note with where we're going. So
okay, so so we live here, so we went through the storm, which was a crazy storm because it had rained for 2 days before the storm, so it was just solid rain for 2 days. And the night before, I'd actually made my last ride around the whole river, unbeknownst to me, checking on people, seeing if we need to lift stuff up, tie stuff down all along the river, and then that morning after it came through, it was bad, but you don't realize how bad it was until because I live on the side of a mountain. Most y'all know, you've been to my house. We're on
she
the
lives
side
back
of
in a holler, y'all.
Yeah, we're
for
way
real
back
holler.
up on the side of a mountain. And so, once it stopped raining, Tyler and I went out, and like our just whole driveway was just laid flat in trees. So the house was fine, but it took us 2 days to cut out with the chainsaw. I mean, we walked out, you're like dunking under trees, and it was crazy. It was crazy. And then we get down to the end of the driveway, and that's just a river. My little creek is now a massive river, washed out the driveway. So we didn't just have to cut out, but then we had to put the logs in the road to kind of rebuild and, get the creek back in the banks. It was a crazy operation just to get out. And then when we got out, it was 3 days before I, got out to town and was like, this is crazy. And so on the fourth day is when we set up in Rose's parking lot, because when I stopped in the gas station and get a carton of cigarettes, because I'm like, here we go, it's apocalypse time, everything Hort's been talking about. I'm like, okay, it's here. I better get cigarettes, and then I was at the gas station.
And Sundrop.
And Sundrop, I did. I bought some of that too. And there was this mama paying with quarters, and I'd already been giving my neighbors some stuff because they also did not have things to be ready for one day even, and here we're on day 3 at this point. And it just was like, we're in big trouble because it was a cash only society. So no credit cards, no internet, no phone, no power. I mean, we didn't have anything. We had no way to contact the outside world. And if you were trapped in your holler like we were for a couple of days, that's the only people you're seeing. That's the only people that are there. That's the only everything. And so, so I felt like I didn't want anyone to feel as abandoned as I did when I came out of the holler with my family, because there's just nothing. And everybody has their phones, and they're just kind of like zombies walking around trying to get a signal. Like it was weird. It was very weird not to see anybody. You would think after a disaster like this, because we've been getting word up the holler, Pigeoners is gone, the Toe's gone, or all these places are gone. And so you don't quite know how to process that, but you're also trapped and can't, what do you do? The road washed out, half of my road washed out, half of most roads washed out, and it was just very catastrophic destruction that we were not expecting at all. There was no way to be prepared for that ever. I mean, it was insane how quick it was on us. And then we got to the parking lot and just started. I got a call out and a video out, and my brother says, Steffi, it's time to come home. And I said, David, I am home, and I'm going to need you to send me some food because I got to feed my people. And that's kind of how it started. The first truck that got here was from Rowan County, which is about 3 hours away. And that was through my friend Lee Brown. And she's been incredible. She's doing Patriot Relief. And she's just been great at making sure trucks are coming, things are getting here. So everybody has been. Because the one thing I tell y'all of all of this, if all of America hadn't stepped in and sent us what we needed, we wouldn't have had anything. And I mean nothing, from a bottle of food to a snack to a light to a heater. Nothing.
Generators. Gasoline, like all of it.
All of it. Then nothing. We would have had nothing if it wasn't for all of America bringing it. And it's still that case 2 months later. We're still dealing with that.
Yeah, because FEMA, the feds aren't really helping you. And I know the state isn't really even. The state's almost like pretending it didn't happen over there.
Yeah, that's exactly what's happened. And even with schools, they're forcing the schools back. My kid is she's in the community college, and they forced them back very early. And unfortunately, her campus is right on top, like the river is just below it. So where she's at is, I mean, it's just not good at all. I don't want to have a come apart, so I'm being, calm because that she does need to be going to school. I mean, school I think is good for children, but we still have very dangerous roads. The water systems are still compromised. Spruce Pine still does not have water, and it's been 2 months.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like it's so bad.
And the cars, and I'll give you an update on the car shredder thing later. But I did some checking on that today.
Okay. I've been praying on that one real hard. That's going to get you double angel wings if you make that happen.
Yeah, if we could get something up there and start getting them cars that are piled up everywhere gone, it would make things look better, make people feel a little better too. So, but that's a tall order for what this thing actually is.
I know it is, but it's been happening. If people weren't coming, we wouldn't have anything anyway. So that's why I figure, well, nobody's dealing with it yet. Let's get it on the list.
Yeah. There you go. That's it. One more thing we need to do. Let's put it at those ads.
That's what I'm doing. I'm just adding and asking because we've got to. There's nobody here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We still have gypsy camps around that, it's going to snow tomorrow, 3 to 6 inches, and most everybody has power. But the trees are still so compromised, they're just hanging. Right. They get some heavy snow on them. They're coming down. The landslides everywhere. I mean, it sucks what has happened, and how we've got to get that fixed back, because this, especially bad weather like this, 3 to 6 inches could do it's going to be bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it'll hamper whatever little bit of relief is being done.
Right. Plus, then it causes more power outages. Plus, it's cold. Plus,
already with the water issues and the power issues and the gas issues, and because Sue, you were running stuff out there too, weren't you?
Yeah, I was on the western side. I started out in Jackson County, and like she's saying, on day 1 and 2, I really didn't care. I just finished up on some reading, and my neighbors, their generator was running 24/7. So just to be spiteful, I just sat out on the deck and read a book, and I finally went to Walmart. Pardon?
Mel being Mel. Go ahead.
I went to Walmart on the evening of the second day, and all the kids from Western Carolina University were sitting in Walmart. It was the only place in town that had Wi-Fi, and they were all sitting cross-legged. Nobody was buying anything, and I asked one of the girls there. I was like, "Are you guys having a sit-in or something at Walmart?" And she's like, "No, we're stranded." I was like, "What are you talking about, stranded?" Because I had no cell phone, I had no internet, I had no television, and I was happy. But like everybody's saying, hey, the apocalypse is finally here, and I was like, yahoo! Now everybody's going to see what it's like to be prepared. And this girl showed me what we were. I-40 was cut off both sides, east and west, and I-26 was cut off north and south. And I was like, oh my God, we are stranded. So I immediately went to the emergency operations center of Jackson County, because Charlie Williams and I, who teach tracking, we're friends with all these guys, the county search and rescues, and every bit of communication from their UHF and VHF radios to the 911 service to their satellite communication, everything was completely out. And I was like, well, how are you guys communicating? And they said, well, ham radio operators are keeping us there. So I was like, oh my gosh, I had a ham radio sitting in my office, and I just been too lazy all summer to get my license and everything. So we got started that way. And I went to the casino. I knew the casino in Cherokee was on Starlink system. And like she said, there was absolute, the internet being down it was cash only. And most of these college kids, they pay for everything. If they buy a Coke, they swipe a card.
Yep.
So none of these kids had any cash. all the gas stations were they were only allowing $30 purchases on fuel and cash only, and that's why the merchandise wasn't moving out of the stores too fast because nobody had any cash. So when I went to the casino, I contacted the Special Forces Association, and that's when things started. We started gathering supplies in Moore County and the Cumberland County and everything around Fort Liberty, Fort Bragg area, and they started trucking it in. And my job was to do a route recon and see how we could get it in there. And of course, 74 was still open, and I said, "Hey, we can go west to east, from Jackson County back towards Buckham County and Yancey County, where they're at, and Mitchell County, Madison County, Marshall. The entire town was gone. That flooded to the second floor in most of the buildings. It's right next to the river. All the PVC pipe had washed down the river. You got Dan Fro down there with you. I sent him into Asheville to talk to some people on basically trying to find out what happened to the homeless and the homeless vets. We still don't know where all the homeless people are, and the body count. I don't know what everybody else's opinion is, but just visiting all the counties. I serviced about 8 counties over the next 32 days with volunteers coming to my house. We had tents set up in my house. So we had volunteers, great Americans. They were active duty and retired soldiers coming in and doing their part and trying to get supplies to people, get people out that were stranded, in these communities that were cut off. And we were delivering Starlings. We were delivering food, blankets. We were using flat shovels to get mud out of people's houses, mostly in Canton and Candler and the west side of Asheville. And then we worked our way up to Yancey County and over there to Bat Cave. We couldn't get into Chimney Rock, of course. And then right where they live up there in Yancey County, the last community that people could reach was a place called Pensacola. And I'll let her talk about that. But we tried our damnedest to get into Pensacola, but the only thing that get into Pensacola for about 4 weeks was horses, ATVs, and side-by-sides, because 8 miles of the road had washed into the river.
Oh, wow.
Man.
And it's still like that. I mean, I was up in Cattail yesterday, a week ago, because some of my friends have been able to get home. All of them had to be helicoptered out on day 5, because I don't know if y'all remember, but after the storm hit, there was another one coming right behind it. Mm-hmm. And so then they start getting to these people that have already been trapped for a week with a storm we weren't expecting. They can't get down. They can't, it's an older population, and so they had to helicopter them all out of their homes, and they had to leave in a hurry. They said, you can't bring your animals, and you got to go right now, because
that's messed up.
It was handled on every portion of wrong.
I bring in my prairie dog.
Yeah, they didn't handle that. They didn't handle that well at all.
So after you started in Rose's parking lot, because it started with just you. I mean, it was just you, right?
Right.
And then what happened after that? After
So people just kept coming. Like the photographer that's ended up being with us this whole time, his name is Travis. He was just bringing me supplies, and he dropped off some supplies, and I was very excited to have them because these were things people were asking for, and I wanted to give them away. And so then he comes back and brings me another load, and he says, "Can I just stay and help you?" And it literally just started building like that. Like we've had hundreds of volunteers through in the last 2 months, but now I've got a core of about 10 or 15 people that are here every day, and they've changed their lives to be here with us, and keep building.
Yeah.
But it just kept growing and growing and growing. And there were other organizations in the parking lot. And so it was very hectic there the first 2 or 3 weeks, but slowly but surely, their mission ended or something like that. And they ended up leaving. And so then we could really get down to business, because we've had a real problem in the community. And I'm sure it's happening everywhere, but what I didn't know about is that people chase storms. They come in and pose as recovery, and may not be recovery at all, but may actually be here to cause harm to the community. That's been a real battle that we've been facing since about day 2. Or day 3, people that they come with their ATVs and their RTVs and guns, and they say, oh, it's dangerous. There's nothing dangerous about Yancey County other than the people that just rolled in,
And they set up those GoFundMe's to start collecting money.
Yeah.
Right.
Millions.
Yeah.
And the community will never see that. That's one of my biggest gripes about the whole process, is that people have been fundraising and none of that money is coming back to the community or to the people that need it,
It's like donating to the Red Cross.
That's exactly right. And to back that up, even Special Forces Charitable Trust sponsored a fundraiser up in Detroit. We had 7 trucks full of what I call phase 3 materials, which is mostly cleanup supplies, tools, chainsaws, and the stuff we need to start rebuilding the communities. And it raised a bunch of money. And unfortunately, Special Forces Charitable Trust didn't get a memorandum of agreement with these people. So I spent several days setting up a warehouse to receive these 7 trucks. And because we didn't have a memorandum of agreement, somebody else stepped in there and everything got diverted. And that money did not go back to the community. We had a place for, if we were to receive the money, we could have bought the chainsaws locally in Jackson County, which would, of course, help out the locals. And then we had equipment standing by. We had track hoes and bulldozers and all kinds of stuff standing by. But nobody knew how to pay these kids or pay the drivers or pay for this equipment to get the guys in there. And of course, that's what I fear now, is all these people from out of state came in, right, with equipment, and they're all going home now. And here we are still living here in our community in Western North Carolina, and all that money went to other states, or even the people that are going to get billed to for FEMA, like the Los Angeles Police Department brought in their swift boat, rescue team, and I know for a fact that they stayed at the casino the whole time. They were in a week late. There was nobody to rescue, but I'm really fearful for the local economy, because we've just took a huge hit, and all that money went out of state so these guys can buy Christmas gifts for their kids, and everybody's still standing around in North Carolina with their hands in their pockets wondering what we're going to do for a job next week or next month.
Yeah. And a huge shout out to the Special Forces
living in tents.
Yeah.
But I want to give a huge shout out to the Special Forces Charitable Foundation, because I did some work with them too. Not on the ground, but I was an asset to them, and they were an asset for us on some requests for, like, right now, emergency, something needs to happen things. And they were always there. Like Sue plug. I think Sue, did you plug me in with them? I don't remember how I even got connected to them. But they're an awesome group, fantastic people. Can't say enough about them, really. So,
yeah.
While we're talking about fantastic people, I want to give a shout out to Carolina Readiness and Supply, Miss Jan and Mr. Bill. They were steady sending stuff from Waynesville. They kept getting me stuff that was really hard. One thing that people need to call them and order is powdered milk. So we kept the babies of Yancey County, with the good regular milk, and it all come right out of from Miss Jane and Mr. Bill.
Nice.
And, also Doug, y'all know Doug. I love Doug. He got me generators, chainsaws, paper products.
While we're on it, Bob Lester.
Bob Lester's
who's in the stands tonight.
Yeah.
Bob Lester's an awesome guy.
I love Bob. I love hugging Bob.
He's very huggable.
I got to hug a Bigfoot. You know what I mean? He's so tall. Yeah, he's great. He's been here multiple times as well.
And I'm shouting Bob out because Bob's one of those, I'll just quiet professionals. Things needed done. Like, he contacted me and said, "Hey, I'm trying to do a fundraiser for Balfang radios." Because he had somebody who had a warehouse full of them and was basically told, "Come get what you need and take them and do it, and we'll settle later." And so I shared out that fundraiser, and we donated pretty sizable to it. Not huge, but enough to make a difference in that particular thing. And they were able to deliver hundreds of Baofangs up into the mountains and just hand them out to people for communications. Because like Sue said, that was the only thing working, guys. And you hear us talk about ham radio, and we say it all the time. But this is the exact reason we say that.
Right.
Like when everything stops, when something like a flood, natural disaster, EMP, cyber attack, whatever it is occurs, none of this modern shit's going to work. Your internet's going to be out. Your cell phone's going to be useless. None of it's going to work. But if you've got a 12-volt battery and a ham radio and an antenna, you've got communications. Yeah. So can't stress it enough.
And remember, if I can get a technician's license, you can too.
That's right.
Anybody can. Anybody can. It's all memorization. It's really, you'll get it. You'll start picking it up, and it's easy.
So who else do you want to give a shout out to, Steph? Because I kind of cut you off.
Bruce at Hope for Survival. Bruce at Hope for Survival also was incredible. He sent some incredible trucks. Even one of his drivers had an emergency situation, and he said he still came through and brought us what we needed. Right, because we had a little window of a snow about week 2, and it was 30 degrees and cold, and he got us some heat, and it's just been incredible. Our whole preparedness community has been incredible.
Yeah. Like Paul Christopher right here on the screen, guys. He's doing a toy drive for kids in the mountains, and Paul has been working with Tulsi Gabbard. And you guys may not know the work that Tulsi has done for North Carolina. She has her foundation has probably contributed, I'm sure, millions of dollars into the recovery of North Carolina. Just for some of the stuff that I know that she sent Paul, that he was able to distribute, things like high-end winter clothing, like technical clothing, very good stuff. They didn't send, Walmart jackets to the mountains. They got the best things they could get their hands on and send it to those people up there. And that's just fantastic. That
it's incredible. Because without them, we wouldn't have anything. We wouldn't have anything. And you got to remember, people lost everything. Right. Not just their houses, but their barns, their tool sheds. I mean,
their livestock, their everything.
Family.
Family, everything.
Yeah, especially there in Yancey County. I mean, I've been to several combat zones, so I know what the smell of death is. And like I've said before on here, we had our windows down when we went through Burnsville there, and trying to get into Pensacola, you could smell the death. It's mostly bovines, mostly cattle, but a lot of livestock. I could not. It just shocked me when I got up to Yancey County, especially Yancey and Mitchell County. The amount of trees that are down, and a lot of houses got crushed, but a lot of cattle were crushed under all those trees and stuff like that too. So
because they ran up the mountain to hide,
try to hide in the shelter of the tree line, and got wow.
And then we had, I think there was a report that said we had gusts of 100-mile-an-hour winds. And so there's some mountainsides, just the whole mountainside is just
everything. Yeah, I've seen some of the aerial footage. Everything's laid down. It looks like it reminded me of when Mount St. Helens went off after the fact, and there's forests that were just plowed over.
Yes.
What it looked like.
It does. It very much looks like that.
Yeah, south facing slope of every mountain up there is mowed down.
Yeah.
I went over and visited with Charlie Williams, who's running the whole state emergency operations center, and we had aerial photos and satellite imagery, and every one of the southeastern ridges in those 2 counties, and then over towards Boone and Banner Elk and everything, all the trees on the southeastern ridge was just completely flattened. Looked like God just threw a temper tantrum and stomped them all down.
Wow. Yeah, laid them down like wheat because they're all going the same direction. They're just laid down.
Yeah, those winds even reached up here where we're at.
There. What blows my mind is the counties. Now the counties don't have enough equipment for all that.
No,
but for all the for all the county lands, and all they're going to take care of is around the roads and county land, right? And then the Forest Service and the state parks, they've got to take care of that inside of there. But nobody's answering the mail on, okay, who's going to pay for the cleanup on all this private land? And when you talk about home ownership, say I own 10 acres and my house sits over here in the northeast part of it, and I've got several trees down in my yard. Well, insurance doesn't cover that. And
one guy told me he lost 1,000 trees and they offered him $500.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Franklin?
It's interesting, but the wind carried up this far. The rain quit about Damascus, Virginia. They got the same rain that North Carolina got, but as you got up here, we got the 100-mile-an-hour winds. So, like, I have about 15 acres of forest, and I lost 50% of my trees. My neighbors lost 50% of their trees.
Wow.
So you go outside, and half of every tree you've got is gone. You know, you've got trees 300 years old, maples that are 7 feet around, and they just snapped in a straight line. So we lost all the telephone poles coming to my house. They just snap at ground level, you know, in a row.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's some stout ass wind to do that.
So that's why I wasn't down at your house, Steph.
I appreciate
get
that.
out.
Boy. I know you couldn't get out either. We lost 7,000 poles here in Yancey County. So
Wow.
I mean, they had to
All poles are
rebuild the
down.
entire system.
The thing that amazed me was we're talking about a time of year. This is autumn, so the trees still have the leaves on them. So the leaves are catching all that wind like a sail, and they're twisting the tree. So there's stumps that are 8 and 12 feet high, and the tree just got twisted by the incredible amount of wind, and it twisted the tree in half and snapped it off 12 feet above the ground. You know, it's amazing.
Yeah.
To see
And then when they laid
the
down,
devastation is.
they took 10 with them. You know, that's what happened at our driveway. Only one came down, but because of the way it hit all the rest of them, now it's a bundle of 10 trees we got to cut through.
Yeah.
Yeah. And people are still doing it. You know, we were up there not too long ago when we saw you last, Steph, and when we drove out, we were heading back east. We went a different way, kind of through the mountains, and it was sort of shocking to see, you know, what it looked like back up there.
Right.
Oh, it's horrific. You get back in the hollers and it's just devastation. It's just complete war zone. This has got to be what it looks like when a nuclear bomb goes off. It's got to be.
Yeah. And then when all the creeks too, with the flooding, all the creeks, all the feeder creeks got filled in with silt and mud. All right. So nobody's gone up there with the smaller track hose, and I'm seeing these people show up out of state with these big, huge bulldozers and these big, huge track hose, and I'm like, well, that's never going to fit on the side of a mountain, you know, or you're going to roll it off of it. That type of equipment doesn't work in these mountains. Yeah, if you're in Iowa, okay, or Louisiana for Katrina, for sure that'll work. But
You just got to be a
not up here.
mountain man.
Yeah,
Gotta be a mountain man.
nobody's dredging out the feeder creeks and streams for the major rivers. So when it does rain next month, and it's coming, that water's got nowhere to go. So the flooding hasn't stopped. So people who think they're in the clear and always survive the storm, well, the water's going to divert somewhere else, and it's going to go right into those houses again. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right now they're dredging the cane. So the biggest thing about the reason Yancey and Mitchell got hit so hard is because we have a lot of rivers. We have a lot of water coming out of these mountains, a lot of springs. I mean, every holler has a creek running along the road. And then the big rivers, we got the Cane and the Toad, they come out of Mount Mitchell, which is the highest peak east of the Mississippi. And then of course, on the other side of that is Black Mountain and Lake Lure. So, you know, when that water hit that mountain and came down, what happened on the north facing is, you know, what happened to the Black Mountain. And then we took the hit on the whole other side. And when it hit the Toe, that's when the Toe is where all the creeks come together. And then that's what hauled into Tennessee through the gorge and just annihilated Tennessee right there in Irwin, because it was a tight gorge, and then it broke out into this huge flat area right there at I-26, and the hospital that you saw flooded. It was just, they could.
And we know how you love the Toe.
Yeah, I love the Toe River.
That was like losing a family member for you. I know.
It is. It very much is. That's why I have to do this.
Yeah.
Because I have to put it back.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it'll never be the same in my lifetime with the trees, you know, because it had these big lush trees and everything.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
I remember floating in a tube with you. We floated.
I know. It's my favorite thing to do. I never could tell anybody how often I was in it because they think I never worked, but you know, I worked the tube. and that's, you know, that's going to be gone for a while. So but we still got to fix it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's just it. You got not only do the people need restored,
Yeah.
to a semblance of life, the land needs to be restored too. You know, like and I know FEMA's, telling people they can't move back onto their property, and all this stuff, and there's a lot of things like that going on, which is awful.
It'll get fixed.
But like I told you, we talked about earlier today on the phone. It's going to take some time,
Right.
a lot of time.
Right.
It'll come back.
It will, and we just got to keep moving forward. I've got some ideas of how I want to help. Do my part to get stuff cleaned up. We talked about the logs. There's really a lot of great things happening out of the ashes of destruction, but it's because we have to. Because for 2 months, the federal government and the state government has shown us that we don't exist to them. And in their world, in their mind, everything's fine. Everybody's warm in a house. And people can drive their 2-wheel drive cars around and everything's fine. And that is just absolutely not the case. There's still people that can't get across their bridges. They're completely gone. People can't go home because they don't have a home. And they put them in a hotel 2 hours away or an hour and a half away, and mountain folk will not leave their land. If they can avoid it, they don't want to. And they have a right to feel that way because day 2 and 3, we had looters. This is one of my favorite houses on the toe. I've loved it for the moment I saw it. It's just big, beautiful, probably 1920s, beautiful home. And their water came up. It's never been this high ever in its life. And it came up to the 2nd floor. And the guy that lived in it, he carried all of his guns and everything upstairs to try to protect it. And he was gone, just long enough to get out and to come back. Within 48 hours, all the stuff was gone.
Really?
No.
Yeah. So who comes into war zones like this and pilfers through people's houses? That's the stuff we've been dealing with this whole time.
And I'm sure Sue probably knows. T, you're sitting down and being awful quiet, but I know you've been helping out in this too. And I know some friends of mine went into the area to help people establish security. They went in and delivered night vision and communications, helped them establish LPOP positions, observation points, road control, and things like that back into some of those areas because we're never going to hear of everything that happened there, but there was a lot of bad. Really bad that went down.
They tell me so many, y'all, the stories I could tell you will just devastate you.
Yeah.
What has happened to this community? What is still happening to this community for con artists and scammers? And
That's bad.
If I had all the money these con artists had raised, I'd already have 5 houses built. I'd already have them built. Yeah. And that's just,
we were dealing with the same thing. We set up a Amazon link to get, and we had quite a few people buy generators. We were struggling finding people that legitimately needed them. Every time I turned around, we were chasing somebody down that just was looking for a fix. They didn't need a generator; they needed some meth.
Right.
We actually gave one of the generators to one of our local firefighters who was out clearing roads and running calls, and someone stole his generator at his home while he was out helping people. Yeah. That's the kind of stuff. The sad part is when you have things like this that happen, you see the best and the worst in humanity. That's just how this works. The looting stuff all over. We've been working a lot in Ashe County, which is in our backyard. So Ashe is in between where Steph is, and of course where Sue. We're in the middle ground of that. And Ashe got hit really hard. There's still a lot of areas there that don't have power. Tons of homes that just no longer exist. They were washed away. Roadways that are still not filled in. They're just big, huge rock rubble creek beds. The only way you can tell that they're a road is the fiber optic cable that's still laying down in it. One thing I think that's really bad that we're seeing now, of course, the winter is like Steph said, 3 to 6 inches of snow. We're expecting some snow up in the hills. There's a lot of these people who are just living in tents and tarp shelters and stuff like that because they have no other place to go. But something that we were there in Ashe last Sunday cooking, did a chicken queue for everybody in that area. And we met a lot of folks, a lot of elderly folks as well, whose houses were flooded out and the cleanup was not as good as it should have been. Some of them had basements that were flooded in. They pumped them out, but we had some extremely warm weather after
mold.
Hurricane. And so now the mold has been such a big factor. If the houses survived, they're just about to the point of being too toxic to live in. But a lot of these elderly people are still living in these homes. You know, we met quite a few of them the other day who are living in these places, and they shouldn't, health wise.
Yeah.
You know, that and the
Mold is
timber,
dangerous.
all these timber, we've got a lot in Ashe County, the same thing. Trees just laid down flat across whole ridges. A lot of that timber is not salvageable now because it's laid on the ground so long, especially the pine. The bugs get into that stuff so fast. You've got a short window of time to harvest that wood before it's ate up with bugs. So right now we're sitting on a lot of timber that's just garbage at this point. So yeah, it's bad all the way around.
See, you mentioned the elderly. Steph, was it you that shared that story about that elderly lady who, like on day 20 or 21, was found for the first time, and she just came out of her house and said she thought everybody had forgotten about her because she'd been there 3 weeks and nobody had come.
There's something for your preps too, though. Bob Lester over there, he said, need to keep a little meth in your relief supplies for those in need. There you have it. Here, Bob Lester. I'm going to add that to my kit.
It's rat poisoning. And I didn't know any of this until people started coming in line and they asked for like rat poisoning and Sudafed or something.
Oh,
And they said that I don't know, but yeah.
You got any lithium batteries?
Yeah, I need a generator. Oh, I don't got no power. I need a generator. Yeah. That's how that's
Up in Batcave, all the it's a volunteer fire department up in Batcave, and they were trying to get to the fire station. All the volunteers were trying to get to the fire station so they could respond to the locals' needs. And when they finally got to the fire station, somebody had already broken in and stole their first responder bags. And, they were caught, but these meth heads thought that there were drugs in the first responder bags, and they took all their first responder bags. We had to go and get them first responder bags
But was
they could
it?
go do
I mean,
their
it's
job.
crazy the stuff that's been stolen, and it's like sabotage. I feel like a lot of it's been sabotage. Like, surely this is who breaks into a fire station?
Yeah.
The meth heads love a good downed power line with copper in it. There's nothing like it.
Except fire lines, in most cases, are not made of copper. They're made of
Well-
aluminum and steel, folks, so they're not really worth anything.
If they can find copper, though.
Oh, yeah. If they can find copper, they'll take it. So,
And now they're driving into remote places like where I'm at. So, because we're not in Asheville, we're not in Boone, we're remote mountains in between. And Dean, he just said you could see him, but Dean has been incredible. He was emailing me on his ham radio because the holler he's in is another one of my most favorites, and I have some amazing friends up there. And I just knew my one friend, I just knew she'd done gone to glory because there was no way that she would have been survivable had the bridge dammed up coming out of the National Forest. But I got an email from Dean saying she's okay. We're okay. So I'm going to tell you that ham radio, I'm getting that. I'm doing that. That's happening.
well, come to Mountain Readiness. You can take your test for free.
Right.
That would be great.
Easy.
Oh, and T, I haven't talked to you about this yet, but we're adding a class. Just for what Steph just talked about, we're adding a class called JS8 Call. JS8 is a digital mode of transmitting via ham radio using a laptop where you can send text back and forth. And you don't have to be there when that message comes through. Your computer will receive it regardless. So we're going to be having a class to show people how to set that up. Corey's going to run it. Nick Meecher's going to assist. Because
remember too, Thursday the 1st, we've got Matt Brushbeater is doing that intro level class.
Yeah.
And then this will be a little bit of a step up from that. But like Steph just said, he was able to email from his ham radio, and JSA calls probably what he used, or WinLink or something else.
Awesome.
But we added. I was talking to Corey and Nick last night, as a matter of fact, and we're gonna add that. And I'll get with you about it. I'll get with Corey and everything, and we'll get it set up. But yeah, see, even Dean right there, he's even saying, yeah, awesome JSA call. Yeah.
That's
So,
what Dean was great. Dean was great.
Hey, T, one thing we need to add it, and it's not my idea. It's Troy's. We gotta do a chainsaw class at Mountain Readiness. How to operate them, how to maintain them, all that kind of stuff. Because we're getting a lot of chainsaw injuries up here. A lot of guys think that, oh, just because I own a chainsaw, I know how to operate it. And
I've actually already started looking into that.
Is one of the worst.
Just like a firearm or a ham radio, just because you own it don't mean you know how to use it. So
We have a neighbor that had Starlink, and he YouTubed.
yeah.
But he came down through, so we had a landslide beyond us, and he got through. We got through around the landslide, and come down, and he attacked the big trees right away. It kind of scared me, and I'm like, "How do you know to do this?" He's like, "I YouTubed it." And I'm like, "Oh God!"
Oh yeah.
But he did it. He totally did it. I mean, the trees were massive. They were massive. They were massive trees.
Yeah.
Insane.
No,
You
completely
still
agree though.
You got to kind of
definitely, Stu. I've already started looking into that, and that's a class that there's a ton of people that own chainsaws that's never started one. Same thing with ham radios. So and chainsaws, even if you've used one, I've used one since I was a kid. But it's easy. You
Right,
can still have a real bad day.
Right there's our instructor. Right there, Paul Christopher. If he's teaching at the firehouse, he can teach out at Mountain Readiness, and I got nothing but respect for that man, and I'll take his class.
Amen.
I'm in. I'll take the class.
Right on.
Hey, speaking of chainsaws, I need 100, pretty please, here in Yancey County, if anybody's watching, because trees are still falling and coming down. And also, I think if I could get chaps to go with them, that would be really great, because people are getting hurt. But at the same time, they've got to get there's trees on their houses. People are still going to go through the storm tomorrow with tarps on their houses. The tree is there, the tarp is there, and the snow is coming on top of it. So I need chainsaws, pretty please.
Awesome. Well, Steph, let's talk a little bit, because some other shit happened in Rhodes parking lot. And I want to make sure that we talk about that.
Okay.
But I'm gonna leave that up to you. That's your story to tell.
We did have some crazy things happen. So we had some different groups come in that you think, because it's a national group or they have a lot of media exposure, that they had come to help. And in the end, they did not come to help. They were not helpful at all. The things they were doing within the community was extraordinarily unhelpful. And shortly after they were asked to leave, we did have a helicopter situation. There's a lot of people say, number one, it didn't happen, but it did. That was the parking lot I was standing in. That was all of our supplies, the tents flying through the air. And that was crazy. I don't know any other way to say other than, nobody ever come to talk to me about it. But I did see on the news that the National Guard had took responsibility for it. Except for my one friend said, but Steph, the National Guard doesn't own Black Hawk helicopters. They own gray ones. So,
Well, I got the skinny on that one.
Okay.
That was a national organization called the Cajun Navy. The Black Hawk belonged to the Cajun Navy. And what I was told by the local deputy up there in Yancey County was there was some of those groups were in there chasing the local ladies, and there was a little fight over one of the ladies there, and the pilot got in the Black Hawk and put a ski mask, not a ski mask, but a balaclava on, and then just to upset the person that told him to get away from his wife. Basically, he went and he buzzed that supply center, blew the supplies all over the place, and the owner of the Cajun Navy is investigating it now, but whoever that pilot was, he needs to have his license revoked for life.
Yeah, that was my kid running through the parking lot.
Right.
You know,
Let's play that video real quick for everybody. Put it up full screen and let's just play it for everybody to see. For those that have not seen it, let's just run that real fast and we'll come back from that.
Twice.
Give Russ just a second. I know he's there working.
Yeah,
I can see him. He's thinking hard. Smoke's coming out of his headphones.
The Wizard of Oz.
The wizard, the man behind the curtain. Yeah. Do we have video too, Russ?
or audio.
Well, I don't know if I have audio. I don't know if it'll do audio through here, but little, yeah. Okay. He said it's too small to show, really. So,
No.
Russ, come on. You can say something, bro. What do you got? What do you got to say?
No.
Let me unmute you. Well, you unmute yourself.
What happened?
There it goes. Okay.
Who's that?
Go ahead, hit play. There you go. Russ's connection might be a little bit slower, guys. That's why this is taking a second. But I just wanted everybody to be able to see it in case you didn't see it.
Yeah. Because it happened. It happened right here.
Yeah. It happened right there in the Rose's parking lot. He's trying to play it. It's just not playing. All right, Russ, you can kill it if it's not going to play, bro. That's all right. Take it down.
You can just Google it. Type in Black Hawk Burnsville, and there's 1,000 because the parking lot was full of people. There was different organizations operating different. There was some search and rescue stuff. Of course, there was our distribution line. I mean, there was a lot of people here.
Yeah. Russ is locked up. Let me see if I can. I don't know if I can get rid of that. Let me see if I can get rid of that.
Yeah.
There we go. All right. Russ is locked up, but he'll be back.
He's so good. Thank you, Russ.
I just ordered him a new laptop because his is running too slow. So we're going to get him up to speed. So.
Time to get a new one. So that's interesting. I appreciate your insight on that, Sue, because I not heard that story.
That's interesting, Sue, because you and I don't think have directly talked about that. And I'm not going to say shit on it right now for reasons, but interesting. That's interesting.
Very interesting. That's very, very interesting.
Well, and
we don't say.
I'm sure you saw that up there too. But the amount of misinformation and the amount of times we went chasing our tails to try to go help people that were the misinformation and disinformation on social media. That was very frustrating to me because, I've been to several different countries doing the exact same thing. Special Forces does what's called humanitarian assistance. This is right up our alley. But when people are taking their intelligence from misinformation on social media and you're running out to a place like Flat Rock that supposedly has 700 stranded people. And I was telling everybody, all of my young Green Berets there, I was like, I just drove to Flat Rock a couple days ago. Everything's fine there, but they had to take 20 guys over there and a bunch of equipment and to save these 700 people that were stranded that only had 48 hours to live. And come to find out there were a couple trees down in an HOA and a golfing community. That's not only
It's like everything was sabotage. I feel like there was a lot of and I've been saying it since day one. I've been making videos since day one because the best way to protect what I've been doing, I think, is to be public about it. I mean, I didn't know it at the time. I was just trying to tell people what we were doing because I was still trying to get supplies. Or I'm always trying. I need things, But it ended up being a blessing to be recorded and doing those things because it's been really weird. It's been super weird the whole time.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah,
and like we did some stuff. We arranged a private rescue with a Black Hawk that flew out of Florida, flew all the way up there, landed on the mountain. And the people that we sent it there to pick up said they didn't want to leave, but their neighbors did. So we took their neighbors off the mountain instead.
The neighbors were like, take us.
Because somebody told these people, we're going to take a bulldozer and cut a new road down the back of the mountain. And they thought that was a great idea. And I was like, you obviously don't know what that entails and what you're not going to get out of here on that road. What are you going to say?
I was going to say, and that was a congressman that called you. And you got it done. I was just saying.
Yeah.
And you got it done.
We didn't talk about who it was for, but, we got help in where we can at times.
You did, Chris. You've been amazing. I called you. I mean, if it weren't for you and Hort, that's why I said you got to get Hort with me. Y'all have been. I'm so thankful to have you as my friends and have had you as my friends because when I needed you, y'all have been there. And in the middle of the night, and I call and go, "You're not going to believe this. What is? Yeah. Who is this? Why are they doing this? You know."
Opie, don't do that, Opie. Just let it go. But it's what I tell folks is we do what we can when we can. I don't think we did anything special on our side. But when my phone started ringing, it didn't stop. And then, through social media and stuff, I mean, it ended up consuming me for about 18 hours a day for 2 weeks. That was all I did, was coordinate. And then the lack of coordination. Like I was contacted because I forget which National Guard unit was stationed at an actual airport, and they had CH-47s, and they needed the ability to sling load gas cans and generators into a place, and they didn't have the equipment.
Right.
And so I'd spend 5 hours on the phone talking in circles to people. Bob Lester's helping me, and I find out that the Connecticut National Guard on the other side of the airport has that equipment. It's like, you guys, and so that's a thing too. We got to remember that DOD assets, National Guard units and stuff, they're not always talking to each other. FEMA, the Red Cross, everybody's out running their mission,
Right.
and Sue could probably speak better to this than I can, but everybody's out there running their mission, and they're not all communicating and being coordinated under a unified command, as they would call it, so that somebody knew what was needed where, and they would dispatch it instead of all these separate groups out there running around. And then you have overlap. That was a waste of resources. And so it was, to see the response from the outside looking at it, I was shocked.
Yeah. And it's still very much like that. And to lead into that, that's exactly what I'm trying to do with Rebuilding Hollers. So it has all evolved to the point of we're now, we're getting the building supplies. I've met an incredible engineering firm that has created is the perfect house to help me, the perfect structure, the perfect engineered properties, homes that we can build people's homes back. So because I feel like there's not been any coordinated efforts. Now I'm very pleased with our sheriff. I want to tell y'all, Yancey County has the best sheriff there's ever been. I love and just I can't sing his
Say his name.
Shane Hilliard at Yancey County. He's amazing. Right before the power went out the night of the storm, he got out a call to the Sheriff's Association, and he had, I think it was 18 sheriff departments from across the state here. And Shane has been on point, and our DOT has been on point. But other than that, we're feeling abandoned completely. And so that's how Rebuilding Hollers, come hell or high waters, got started. As far as, we want to go in and get people's homes built back, but we're building new homes.
Let's talk about rebuilding homes come hell or high water, because we need to let everybody know what that is and how they can help you.
I appreciate that. So Rebuilding Hollers, that's what we are. So mountain folk, a lot of people say, well, what's a holler? So think of like a mountain bowl. You see the mountain, and you're coming up the mountains on both sides, going up and over, and there's one road going up. It's always going to have a stream beside it. That's a holler. You've got little houses up in the holler. So we're going to rebuild hollers come hell or high waters, because all the sabotage we've been talking about, we're still facing in the rebuilding and the reconstruction of the hollers, of the homes, of everything. Everything is, at a state level. Now our county is doing our best. Our county folks, they're amazing, but they have to do what the state tells them. So we're having some real issues there at a state level. But my plan for what I'm raising money for, we're selling t-shirts. Show you my shirts. We got stickers. We're just doing it the old fashioned way. So that we can, and of course, any donations monetarily, or if you just want to call the lumber store and order me 1,000 2x4s, I will be thankful for that.
Steph, give me the links to where folks can go to donate and help, because I'll get those put out everywhere. I know Franklin will. I know T will. We will spread that everywhere. There you guys go, right there.
Rebuildinghollers.com. And so that's where volunteers can sign up to come help us rebuild hollers. That's where folks can send donations, but also our local community, they have a link there, the assistance link. And it's like a Amazon shopping buggy. So you just go in there, pick what you need. And then Tuesday, Thursday, or Saturday, you come pick it up, and we just bring it right out to your car. Yeah. So that way we're still doing distribution
That's
on
neat.
the basics. And then we have the construction stuff, I like to say, going out the back door. But I've met this incredible company that is doing engineered homes. And so it is a engineered lumber cut by the CNC machine to precision. I can order a home on Monday. I can have a home roughed in by Saturday under roof. Then we've just got to go in, you know, put in the plumbing, put in the electrical, finish it out. It is amazing. They're hoping to have me 7 models. Currently, I'm going to have 3. And so that way I'm fundraising, I'm raising money, and I'm building people's houses back.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
what we have to do. We have to build their
Well, Christopher, I know you're still listening, dude. You need to reach out to Tulsi and talk with her and put. You need to go see Steph. You need to go to Burnsville and sit down with Steph, because Tulsi's organization would probably jump in with both feet to help you in something like that, Steph. And we just need to let folks know that there's somebody there doing this.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And we have to. So there's one house we that is already up and under roof. We're going to the electrical and the plumbing starts next. Then we're gonna get the sheetrock in, and it's actually going to be a duplex. So 2 families that were affected can go into a home while we get their homes. One has to have a new home built, another one has to have it restored. Right now I'm at 1,537 homes. That's 1,537 homes we got to rebuild. But my theory is, if we get into a home, and so Samaritan's Purse has come in and they've gutted them. They've got all the mold out, the sheetrock out. That would be great, Paul. I'll be glad to see you Wednesday or Thursday. That would be great. They are, so they've got them ready for us. So now I want to go back in the house and put them back. So I want to send my finishing contractors in there, get them put back, get all their, we've got furniture folks wanting to come. I'm going to need flooring. I mean, we just need everything to get the houses back together. However, if the house is 50% damaged or the foundation, because a lot of stuff is shifted off that foundation. So then they need a new house. They need a new house. Now, because here's the problem. The insurance isn't paying. Even if they had flood insurance, the insurance is not paying them. FEMA, well, that's a joke. Okay, I don't care what anybody tells you. That's a joke. They're not getting any money. Some people got money. Most people here didn't get money.
Yeah.
If you understand what I'm saying.
Yep.
And so, and then they still have mortgages to pay. Well, but they don't have a house. Okay, so I need lawyers to keep fighting these insurance companies, pretty please, to get their mortgages paid off, so that when we're done, they are debt free. I need them to own their land and own their house and not be stressed out anymore and not be feeling like they've been completely abandoned by everybody in the world. And that's my mission, is to know you're not alone. We're just going to keep going. We're going to keep moving.
Yeah.
We have.
And one thing to caveat on that, if you have some old trade skills, Chris, like you're an electrician or a plumber or an HVAC guy or even a carpenter, and you got some time to donate, come up here and help, because there's not enough of the local trades here to keep up with the massive amount of rebuilding that we have to do. There's just not enough people.
That's right. And that we're trying to capture that through our website, rebuildinghollers.com, so that volunteers can sign up. That way, if I know, okay, these are the 50 guys I've got coming this week. These are the 10 homes that are going to need the work. We've got a project lead to get them out to the properties. We've already got the material on site or staged at the property. We're just getting it all around, getting it wrapped up.
That's
but
awesome.
We've got to do it the right way, because we don't want to just send random guys. Like, I had a guy come in here tonight tell me, I can build bridges. I said, that's fantastic. I have an amazing friend and he needs a bridge. I'm going to give you one and show me what you can do. Then it's, well, I'm not actually the bridge guy, but I know a guy that knows a guy, but I don't know about that. Oh, I like to lay him out. I said, you just come in here and wasted 10 minutes of my time. You don't know what you're doing. And so I've got to vet them. I've got to figure out how Samaritan's Purse does it to make sure we're getting the people we need, because I'm sending them into my community that's already been hurt, that has already had con artists in here scamming them. So I'm very much trying to be very direct and very make sure, to make sure that we're not, I don't want to, if a guy comes and puts up their sheetrock by day, but then comes back to grandma's house in the evening and robs her, that's going to be a problem. And so I don't want to just send people out. I don't give out addresses. I've had people come in and say, well, I've got 10 generators, but I want to deliver them. That's not how we're doing it here. That is not how we're doing it here. I said, you can sit and watch us call them and know where they're going to, but I'm not giving you their addresses. I'm not giving you their phone numbers. They've had enough of that. We're tired of that. So I'm it's kind of a catch-22. I'm trying to protect them and make sure everything's okay. But then also I got to get them, back in their homes, so it's just it's going to be a unique operation, but it has to be done. We have to do it.
Oh, and one more trick for Steph. For one thing that really irritated me is, especially back in Jackson County and over there towards Murphy and everything, and I would go in some of these local Lowe's or Home Depots, and I would see people returning generators or brand new generators or brand new space heaters and stuff like that. And I know for a fact, because I saw the stain on the box, that just came from one of these places that are gathering supplies to help people. And there's people going in there and grabbing this stuff and then taking it to get a refund off it.
Right.
Don't ever let me catch you doing that.
I know.
I will,
but you're not the only one fighting that.
Sharpie with you. Get you a box of Sharpie pens. If you're going to donate this stuff, go buy the stuff, get a Sharpie pen along with it, and just mark out the barcode. Take the barcode and blacken it out with a Sharpie pen.
Take a knife and cut the barcode off the damn box and throw it away.
Or write donation on it. We write donation on it after we mark out the barcode. But I'd like to tell you, the other way we've been doing it, this is real. This is true. So we had a guy come in, tell us he was affected by the storm and got a carload of supplies. Okay. Now generators, chainsaws, dehumidifiers, we have lists for a lot of stuff, but he had come in and gotten a carload of stuff. And then he come back the next day and said to my best friend, Cindy, he said, I'm sorry, I lied to you. And she said, well, what do you mean you lied to me? He said, well, I told you that I was affected and I wasn't affected. And I've not been able to sleep at night since I took all this stuff. So he volunteered with us for a week picking up trash.
Well, at least he had a conscience,
Well, because this is, I feel like God is very much working here. He is guiding the operation here at Roses. And y'all know I don't go to church. I'm not Bible thumping by any means, but you can't help but know that there's another level of something happening here with people getting the call to come and coming, getting the call for help and helping, and that's why I want to get organized for Yancey and Mitchell County, because we've got to capture them while they're coming and get them to where they're needed, in an organized and safe fashion for not only them, but also for the community.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So God's running the operation here and he will put it on them. If you come steal from here, ooh,
I want to give one more shout out to a person that we've missed. And I know you haven't, but we haven't here yet. And that's Tyler, Mr. Tyler.
Mr. Fabulous?
Mr. Fabulous needs a shout out. I know he's sitting over there.
Yes.
Because
hello. Tell him hello.
As much as I love Stephanie, I love Tyler just as much. They're two of my favorite people to hang out. There he is.
Hey.
My husband.
One of the funniest people I know, by the way. Why he ain't doing stand up, I have no idea.
Yeah, he's so funny.
Because he's afraid
dominoes together again.
Because I'm the butt of the jokes.
Slap some bones. But no, I want to make sure Tyler gets a shout out too, because he's working just as damn hard. Steph's the face, and Tyler's the magic behind the face. So I know that.
I appreciate that. I appreciate everything everybody's ever done, man. It means a lot. It means the world to us. Yeah. There's so many people reached out and loved our community as much as we do. Right. So I appreciate everybody and everything that they've done.
Awesome, brother. Mm-hmm. Well, we appreciate you guys. I mean, it's not my family's from there. As you know, I went by and checked my uncle's place and saw that they're there and they're good. But my family's from there. I mean, that's where my family comes from, is Yancey County.
I know. Last time you were visiting, you went and saw your uncle.
Yeah, she's from there too. Yeah.
Becky Christopher's from there.
Becky Christopher, that's her hometown too. Paul's wife is from Burnsville.
Yeah. It's the greatest place on earth. Burnsville, Yancey, Mitchell County, it's like mountain time. It's a whole different magical place. Mm-hmm. So we're not a tourist destination. No. We're nature. We're hiking trails and clean rivers and, all the things that we're not right now. But before, just the greatest place on earth. And the people are the greatest people on earth. They just are loving and kind, and that's why I can't let them lose hope or think that nobody's here to help them.
Yeah.
It's the greatest place on earth.
So what would be the best thing for people to do right now to help you? What's the number one thing? Like you got like here's what you need to do for me.
So right now I have 12 families I would like to build houses for that need houses, that do not have houses. I'm going to just start a holler at a time, and we're just so right now we're working in Relief and Poplar. And so I have 12 houses right there they're just completely destroyed. There have been 6 people go on to glory from those hollers, so they lost their family members, they've lost their friends, they've lost their neighbors. And so that's where we want to start. And then we have houses we want to get up into South Toe. I mean, like I said, it's going to be 1,537, but I need to start with 10. So monetary donations will help me significantly, but also lumber, anything that people want to do, anything. Send me chainsaws is number one. If I could get 100 chainsaws, I will be thankful. But really, I need to build. I need to start with 10 to 12 houses, pretty please.
And the houses are, what do you say, 150 a piece?
150 to 170,000, start to finish, done. And hopefully we'll be able to save a lot, with the volunteers coming. Hopefully some of these bigger corporations will help give us some better pricing on materials. But we also want to buy materials locally as well, 2x4. You can call our local lumber yard, which is Summit Lumber, and say, hey, send Steph $1,000 worth of 2x4s. That will get me 150 2x4 by 10s. And I'd appreciate that. Yeah.
So is there anything you're going to need before winter? I mean, I know you want to build houses, but are you going to be able to do that before the snow hits? Or is there something that would help you in the meantime to put roofs over people's head before the bad weather hits?
So the weather hits tomorrow. So right now I've got, we're going to try to open a little early tomorrow. So we've got some kerosene heaters and we've got some buddy heaters. We've got a ton of stuff. That we're, all the heat sources are ready to push out tomorrow. I mean, we give them out every day, but I'm really worried about the folks. We have a lot of people in campers, and they're not winterized. So we're trying to get some installation for them, get their pipes wrapped, just all the things.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, what you've done is amazing. It's really, disasters are terrible things, but it's incredible to see just an average American that looks around at the rubble around them and is like, we need to get to work and fix this. And you went to work that day, and you ain't stopped yet. I mean, I know you were forced to take a couple of days off because you were running yourself to the bare thread. Right. And but it's incredible to see what you and Tyler and everybody else in Burnsville that's helping you, and the volunteers that have come in and the people that have assisted, and Sue, and like I said, I know Franklin ain't talking about nothing, but he's helped some too. T's working in Ashe County. And it's just incredible to see the people step up to help one another, because it's like we say all the time, no one's coming to save you. And if this doesn't prove it to you, there we go, right there, Bob Lester. He can bring down a concrete crew when you need one.
That'd be great, Bob. Thank you. You're the best.
So yeah. And I might be in a different position come January where I will offer a little variety of assistance, because I might be going into business where I'm going to have some bucket trucks and things like that.
Those too.
Yeah. So we might be able to assist in that way as well.
That would be great. I would be so thankful, because we just want to keep going. No matter what happens, we've just got to keep getting families in their homes, let them know they've not been forgotten about. And, that all of America loves them very much, because they've shown us that.
The apparatus may not care for them Appalachians up there, Appalachians, but we do. They mean a lot to us. And the way we usually close things out, Steph, is we kind of go around the horn, but I'm gonna give you the last word. So I'm gonna start with T. T, what do you got you want to leave folks with tonight, man?
Well, first, Steph, great job. We've been keeping up with you as well. I know you've been out there since pretty much day one, as soon as you got carved out of the holler there. So awesome on you. But I think the biggest thing that I could say here to roll this out is everybody wants to do all the cool guy stuff, save people's lives and cut crews and go in where it's real bad. But the real work is after all them guys went home, right? And that's where we're at now. You know, the cool guy stuff's all over. That's pretty much so a done deal. What people are needing now is that stuff, the elbow grease, cleaning and building houses and you know, I know tons of people over here. We're trying to get help. A lot of elderly people who their furnaces and their hot water heaters and everything were trashed, plumbing tore all up, and of course the insurance company's not doing anything. So, you know, that's what I would leave everybody with is we're not in the clear by far. These people are not in the clear. It's a lot of people are going to end up going through this winter in tents, right?
Yeah.
In little shacks and little houses. That's hard. Take it from one who knows. That's going to be a tough winter for a lot of people. So, you know, do what you can, guys. Donate to staff. Go to your local places. Try to find people who are actually legit, because there's a lot of scammers and dirty SOBs out there trying to make a buck. You know, but these people still need our help more than ever now, because now we're at that rebuilding stage where it's a lot of time that goes into this. So that's it. You know, don't give up. Don't give up now. This is when everybody needs you most.
Right.
That's it.
But a lot.
Martin, I hear you got a new book coming out too, brother. It's your turn. So what do you got besides a new book? I want to make sure everybody knows you got a new one coming out. So.
Okay, yeah, I got a new book, hopefully in a week or so. But speaking of those books, Chris, you know from your books, and you know from the kind of books I write, the kind of books Pete writes, that one of the things that we see in apocalyptic events is it's not the super rich people who rise to the top. It's not the, you know, the people with the high degrees. It's not the politicians. It's not the actors. It's the normal people who feel the call and rise up and, you know, help their friends and neighbors. And Steph and Tyler have been those people down there. I've been proud of both of those guys. They have just, you know, she sent me a message, you know, when she got out in society, and she's like, man, my town is gone and I'm just devastated. And, you know, she could have ducked in a hole. She could have gone back home and pouted about it, but she didn't. You know, she stayed there in town and she took charge. And man, those guys, super proud of them.
Yeah.
Proud to call you friend.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I'm proud to be y'all's friend.
Actually, family is a better word.
Yeah, we're family. We're family now. We're family.
Yeah. Sue, what about you, brother? What do you got you want to leave with the folks about North Carolina? Because that's what this is all about tonight.
Do the Trump dance right. You got to have the arms up. Anyway, no, I have, as most people on here know, I've been to several combat zones. Sarajevo, Bosnia being the worst. And T and Stephanie are correct. The winter's coming, and I was in Bosnia 2 winters in a row, and this is a combat zone. Western North Carolina is a combat zone, right? They've been devastated. The power's gone. There's still a lot of people that are going to have to live, so don't give up on them. And, you know, a lot of money just went back over to Ukraine, and they're releasing all kinds of weapons. I think if we can do anything, we got a new Congress coming in and a new Senate coming in. So everybody kind of send a message to those congressmen that you voted for is don't forget Western North Carolina. You know, we're going to need the help through the winter. Yeah. Right. And not just monetarily either. We need people to come in and really look at what the needs are. And it's not a one size fits all. Like she's saying, every hauler's different, right? Every county had different destruction. There's 25 affected counties, and this is there's thousands, hundreds of thousands of people were affected, and it's a war zone. But we got to treat it like a war zone and get it back on its feet by spring and help these people through the winter.
Yeah. All right, Steph.
Thank you. Thank
you.
What
you want to leave folks with tonight?
Yeah. Well, I do want to give one more thanks out. Operation Hilo has been incredible getting RVs here. As folks have come in and brought RVs into us before we formed an organization, we just hooked them right up with them. and they were able to still keep those coming into, Yancey and Mitchell County, but we were able to do that through them. And Gary Pig with Project 32, they've also been significant. Especially Gary, he's been phenomenal in making sure that we have what we need here at Rebuilding Hollers in the Roses parking lot. I couldn't have done any of this without all of America. So I just want to tell everybody thank you so much, because from day one to today, I think someone said we're at day 54. I wouldn't have had anything to give anybody if it hadn't have been for all of America sending it. So please keep sending it. Please keep remembering us. We are organized as a foundation now so that we can better serve the community. We just started fundraising a few days ago, because before then I didn't need any money. Y'all were bringing me everything I needed.
Right.
And then found out that, my community started losing hope. So we had to reshift and say, okay, we're going to rebuild Hollers come hell or high waters. And that basically means you're not going to stop me from building my community back. You're not going to stop me from building them houses. You're not going to stop me from reconstructing their houses. You're not going to stop me from cleaning up these riverbeds. You're not going to stop me from hauling these broke cars out of here. You just can't stop what's about to happen, because it has to happen. We have to get back on our feet. We cannot let the community feel like they've been abandoned. We have to do this. And I need an army.
Well, I'm gonna do a text. I'm gonna connect you and Paul together in text as soon as we get off of here.
Thank you.
Paul's got some pretty good reach back with some folks with deep pockets, and I think and with Becky being from Burnsville, that's her hometown.
Yeah.
They're vested in Burnsville, and we're gonna get you guys tight, because you need to be.
Yes, I appreciate that. All the help you can send, all the help the whole world can send, because we're just going to do it. And if when I get my community back on, don't think I won't go to another place and help them too, because I don't want anybody to feel abandoned. I don't want anyone else to lose a life or lose a family member or lose hope, because that is a terrible feeling. And we're just not going to let them. They're not going to feel that way here.
No, not at all.
Yeah. So we're rebuilding Hollers come hell or high waters, and we need you. So thank you for coming. I'm so thankful.
Mel, what do you want to leave him with tonight?
Me?
First time Mel's been on the podcast. So.
Yay, Mel.
Yeah. One and only time. Yeah. Stephanie's here.
Yeah, well, Steph was here. We had to have Mel on too. So
yeah, I love Mel. Mel, you're the best.
Thank you.
We wanted to just tell everybody, that's assisted in any capacity, thank you. And for all those in need, you're not forgotten. There's a lot of people out there that still think about you guys. And we're going to try to get up to Steph. I don't know. I got to look at the calendar and figure some crap out. But we're going to try to get up and we'll bring the camper and set up and stay for a little bit and see what we can do to help too. I mean, if I can wire some houses, I'll wire some houses.
That'd be great. That'd be great. Wait till you. I cannot wait to show you all these houses.
I'm going to come check them out anyway. So we'll figure out when we get up there, and we're coming. So
when I saw it, I was like, this is exactly what I need. It's that magical. I'm so thankful.
Well, I'm glad thank you for being here. I'm glad you got to get some of this off, because I know you've been carrying a bit of a weight,
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for being my friends.
Always.
Yeah.
And everybody tuned in tonight, guys, thanks for being here with us and listening to Steph and T and Sue and even Franklin. It's awesome, always awesome to have the silent Franklin on the podcast.
Of course.
My favorite hillbilly in the world right there.
Mine too.
Thank you, guys.
And you guys know the drill, be good or be good at it.
That's right.
If you can't be good at it, at least be dead at it.
Yeah. And live, love, laugh.